Couch Reviews. I'm John, and he's Carlos, and today we are reviewing Netflix original series Daredevil. So who is the cast in this series?
Okay, the cast. Matt Murdock is played by Charlie Cox. Vincent D'Onofrio is Kingpin. Deborah Ann Wall from True Blood is Karen Page. And Rosario Dawson is the Night Nurse. And Eldon Henson is Foggy.
Nice. And Foggy is also in Mighty Ducks.
The Mighty Ducks, yes! As one of my favorite characters.
Yeah, so it's always good to see the Mighty Ducks cast in something else. And he brings it home. He's a great Foggy in my opinion.
I loved him in Foggy. In fact, he was one of the standouts for this show, I thought.
Perfect. We'll get into the cast after the preview, so here comes the preview.
Who the hell are you guys?
I'm Matt. He's Foggy.
Lawyer by day, vigilante by night. You make life difficult for bad men.
I'm just trying to make my city a better place. Who do you work for?
Oh my God.
A city needs to die before it can be reborn. Sometimes it requires force. It's impossible to avoid for what I'm trying to do. I've hurt people. And I'm going to hurt more.
I'm gonna make you pay for what you've done.
I respect your conviction. The lone man thinks he can make a difference.
Do you believe in the devil, Father?
I believe he walks among us.
Alright, welcome back, and we are talking Daredevil. So, what do you think? Did you like the series?
I did. Yeah, it took a little bit for it to get going for me, which I was a little bit surprised. It was a little bit slower progression. I mean, there's a lot of action, a lot of grit, really dark. I think I was expecting more of the standard comic book, training sequences.
More Marvel?
I was expecting him to already be Daredevil, I think, and that's my bad.
Yeah, so this is Marvel's Daredevil, and it is gritty, and it is realistic, and I like it.
It's street level.
Yeah, street level superhero, and
In
it was
fact,
good stuff.
their first street level superhero.
Yes, and there's many on the way on Netflix, so this is the first one to show up, and we've been waiting for it. So, what are some of your good, bad, and geeky stuff about Daredevil? What's some of your good?
The fight sequences were great. They were over the top. I mean, not over the top, like corny, just like insane action in my opinion.
Yes, that is also one of my good points. The fight choreography was epic in this one, especially for a TV show. They definitely are brutal. They're not fast cut. You do see what's going on in them. And yeah, Daredevil's basically a ninja, and you get to see him kick some serious butt.
Not only is he a ninja, he's a ninja.
Yes, he's angry, and he's unleashing it on these wrongdoers, which is pretty cool.
In fact, he's not really a ninja, he's just
Brutal. Yes, he is. So what else? What else did you like?
the acting, the cast.
Yes.
Everyone in this was amazing.
Yeah, the cast is really good in this.
But the standout for me was the gentleman who played the Kingpin, Vincent D'Onofrio.
Yeah, so let's talk Kingpin. He is the villain in this, of course, but he's such a big role in this. He's like, you have Daredevils starting out, and now you have Kingpin. He's starting out too.
Yeah, and I wasn't expecting. I thought Kingpin was just gonna come in and be that evil version of Kingpin, which we're so familiar with.
Yes.
And no, this guy totally brought a type of like vulnerability slash like quietness. I just was not expecting.
Yeah, they switched the roles here. Usually your hero gets a love plot point. Kingpin gets a love plot point in this.
Yeah, it was heartbreaking.
Yes.
His whole storyline, they made me care about Kingpin, and I hate you, Marvel. I hate you for making me care about Kingpin.
Yeah, you almost wanted him to see it, because he he's doing these bad things. He knows he's doing these bad things.
No, you're just like, just get away.
But he wants to do them for the right reason, because he wants to basically save Hell's Kitchen, because he's grown up there too.
Yeah, I mean, you have this villain, this guy who does really bad stuff, but he's trying to save the city in his own way, or what he thinks is the proper way.
Right.
Which is to, of course, destroy it and then rebuild it.
Yeah, rebuild it to be bigger and better, and you can't fault him for wanting to do that. Of course, you could fault him for his methods to do that.
Yeah, and I was, like I said from the beginning, I was, alright, let's take Kingpin down, this guy's gonna be a jerk, and no.
Yes, one of the best things about Kingpin is that he's kind of crazy, but crazy in, of course, a genius way.
The character itself, is obviously a genius or smart for how he ends up becoming the Kingpin, or how he, always gets in trouble and then gets out of it.
Yeah.
But just the way they introduce the Kingpin and they kind of make him a three-dimensional character in this. I just don't want to be anywhere near anyone.
Yeah, you don't want to go anywhere near this guy. He could go off the rails, and he does multiple times in this. And you're just like, damn, that's crazy.
Yeah, but he does it because, and not because someone attacks him.
Yeah.
I mean, if someone attacks him, that's fine. But if you, look the wrong way at someone that he cares about, he just goes to a different level. And,
It's scary to say the least. What else did you find good about this?
Let's see. It's a good and bad thing, the grittiness of this. It's pretty clear that they wanted to get away from the Ben Affleck type Daredevil, hero, and kind of go back to, I guess, the comic of being dark and gritty. And,
right.
I think that for me, I wasn't quite ready for that. I mean,
Right.
I was, but I wasn't.
Yeah.
I really didn't think it was going to be this dark and gritty, and so that's good for Marvel. Good on them for actually going through with it.
Yeah. So like you said, for me, my good is the cast. Cast was great. Matt Murdock was great. You really get a feel for him and his plight and why he would want to be Daredevil. And then also Foggy, his relationship. Just seeing them.
Their whole relationship, I think, really carried the show.
It did. Those episodes where Foggy essentially finds out that Matt's been lying to him.
Yeah, because
they met.
Matt's character, he is likable because he's a hero, but they don't really give you that much to go on with this because he's such a closed off, quiet type character. So you have Foggy, who's kind of like the
opposite of that. He's loud, tells it as it is. And
So in fact, that was one of the best things for me was that there's an episode and they go back into how they meet.
Their college years.
Yeah, and that was awesome. By the time that episode comes around, you're so like stuff has happened to these characters so much that it's actually nice to kind of see them at a happy point. Yeah,
for sure. You definitely feel for them. So like you said, fight choreography was super, super done, and it was just great to watch it. Plus for me was the world on fire. So they just touch upon what Daredevil's, one of his superpowers is the way he sees the world. And you do get a little bit of that, but they don't go to the extreme and show it all the time, which they could have done.
Yeah, and I think that's what I was expecting, and that was also a plus and also a negative. I wanted to see more of that.
Yeah,
I think it was really smart that how they showed it.
Right.
You have a character who almost he says he sees the world on fire, and that plays into the Matt Murdock character and why he's not why, but partially why he feels like he's always angry all the time, and he's got the devil in him that he's got to go out there and be a vigilante.
Right.
And maybe it's because they were going with a more realistic, view of a superhero type show. I just wanted to see more of it. I wanted to see what, I want to see what it's like to be Daredevil more, and I wanted to see more of how he saw the world.
Right. Yeah. I thought it was kept to very minimum, and I didn't want to oversaturate it like they've done in past Daredevil movie, for example. So, what are some of your bads? What didn't you like about it?
Just the pacing, I think. And, like I said, maybe it's more my fault. I came into this and I was like, okay, Daredevil, let's go. I was expecting him to already be a kick-ass Daredevil.
Yeah.
And, of course, it's not. He's a transition. He is kick-ass, but he's transitioning into, what's going to be who he's going to be, which is Daredevil. And also, they do that with the Kingpin, too. So it's not a bad thing. It's not a good thing. It's just, it took a while to get going for me.
Right, yeah, definitely kind of slower pace to begin with, and like you said, they ramp it up as they go through the season. Anything else that you didn't care about?
Let's see, the acting was good story, the music was great. Let me think. Pacing? No.
Okay, so I'll get into my bad. So Heath Ledger's Joker said it best for me. Why so serious?
Oh, that's right, yeah. Yeah, it was. For, like we said, we talk about comic book shows, we talk about comic book movies, and there's a certain like fun factor that you kind of
want to see.
Yeah, going in, and this one was just really serious, just all the time serious.
Yeah. So yeah, it's so serious to a point where you don't get to have as much fun as you want to watching the show. And I don't want to go the opposite way where it gets campy and not fun. And I love the fact that it's dark and gritty and realistic and not over the top superhero stuff. I just want a little bit more fun. I want to see the characters just have a little bit more fun. That way, when they get beat down, which happens in DareDevil's universe all the time, it's a little bit more impactful.
Yeah,
they're like, oh,
everyone's getting beat down. I mean, everyone. Like even the villain. It's like the villain and the heroes, just everyone. But when you live in a place called Hell's Kitchen, it's not going to be a happy place.
Yeah, very true. All right, so also a negative for me, just a little bit. I love the format of Netflix where they just put all the episodes up for you to watch, but I thought it hurt the show just a little bit, just because it is so dark and gritty that I could only take so many of these episodes before I had to stop just to watch something a little bit happier because it's so dark and gritty.
Yeah, I thought I was gonna fly through this show. I was like ready to watch all 12 or 13 episodes, like right back to back to back to back, and just get it over with and kind of enjoy it and have a Daredevil day. That didn't happen. It was just too emotionally draining. Like sit there and just watch everyone go through what they did.
Yeah, it beats you down just like the characters of the show beats you down too. So a week to week format, I think would have just enriched my appreciation of the show just a little bit. I still like it, of course, but just the binging format hurt it just a little bit for me. Also, another negative for me was some of the side plots for the additional characters, of course, were just a little bit on the slow side.
Yeah, you have all these characters in the show, and of course, there's only one Daredevil. Only one of them's either A, crazy enough, or B, heroic enough to go out there and try and handle this in his own way, but all the other characters, also try and solve or help the city through either legal means or different ways. Yeah. So that was kind of interesting to see, and sometimes it kind of drained it.
Yeah. So yeah, some plot point issues that were a little negative. All right, so let's geek out. What were some of the cool things in this series? Because there's a lot about them, a lot to love.
Oh man, for me, the moment I was waiting for two things on this show. And one of them was the training, sequence. Mm-hmm. So when they finally introduced like Stick, who's his kind of like
mentor,
yeah, his grumpy mentor. Like it was awesome. Like I love Stick's character. I was just like, this guy's perfect.
Yes. He basically lays into Matt and just tells him how it is and what he should be doing and why he's not doing it. It's just fun to see.
Right. And then the other moment for me, and damn you Netflix for ruining this, was, like when it starts, like I said, I was expecting him to already have or be Daredevil when it started, and he wasn't. I mean, like, he wasn't the Daredevil from the comics.
Yeah.
So, of course, I was a little disappointed, but then as the show kind of progressed, they kind of build it up, and I'm like, when's he going to get his costume? And they finally built it up, and they did it in a really good way.
Yeah.
So when you actually do finally get to see it, you're like, yes, but they showed it on the little Netflix caption before I
the release image,
before. So that kind of ruined it for me, but it took a while to get there, but it was both good and bad.
Yeah, so you brought it up. Let's talk about costumes, because Daredevil has a cool costume. He's all red, but before we get there, we get his cool black ninja costume. That's why I'm wearing all black in celebration of it. I kind of missed it. It grew on me as the show went. Like you said, I wanted Daredevil to be in this red costume, but he gets to be in that black cool ninja one for a long time.
Yeah, that black costume, I think it's a shout out to the Man Without Fear comic, right?
Yes, absolutely.
And at first you're like, what the hell is he fighting? Yeah. Like, I mean, there's even jokes, like characters among in the show, they're always like, hey, you need to get a better costume. And he's like, yeah, I'm working on it. Yeah, and then once they do introduce a new costume, you're like, okay, that's pretty badass, but you do kind of miss the old one.
You do, yeah, absolutely. And it is a plot point in the show how he gets his new costume. He kind of tails Kingpin's tailor, because him and Kingpin have a brief fight. He cuts his jacket, and there's some sort of material in there, and that's why Matt uses the black costume to begin with, which is that he thinks a more bulkier armored costume would just slow him down, and he can't afford that.
Right. I guess when you have all the money in the world, Kingpin, you can afford those super nice suits with
with built-in armor. But yeah, so it was kind of cool to see that plot mixed in the show. Very well done.
In fact, I think a character asked him, "Where'd you get all this like stuff for his costume?" And he said it was the internet.
Oh yeah.
It's like if you're gonna build yourself a costume, it's pretty much what you can assemble it on the internet.
Pretty much. Another geeky moment for me is Ben, the reporter's death, because he's a big character in the comics. And
spoiler alert! Yes, spoiler alert. That I totally did not see that coming because, of course, he's a big character in the comic.
Yeah, and they spent so much time building this character out.
Just killed them all. I was both shocked, then disappointed, and then like I don't know. That was the other problem I had with Karen's character. Yeah. Like, you know, she could have easily warned him. Like, hey, he even asked her, like, how do you know these guys are onto us? And she didn't. She's like, I have a feeling. A simple warning might have actually helped him.
So he's a total. Been doing this reporter gig for a while. He's been after big stories like this, and he just gets taken out in a surprising way.
Yeah, I mean, there's a scene later where they're at his wife's funeral, and she says that he's got life insurance a long time ago, so it's possible maybe that he knew it was coming. And the character's definitely smart enough to see something like that happening, and so he let it happen so that the only way his wife would be taken care of. If that was the case, I would have liked them to make it a little bit more obvious because the guy who played him was amazing.
Yeah, he's really good
character.
And what I would like to see them do with Ben's character now that he's been killed off is he's just about to start his blog up. So I'd love to have one of the other characters take up his blog name and just use that to write the stories that Ben would have written. Like Karen would be a perfect candidate to do that.
Yeah, to kind of keep his name going out there.
Yeah,
which would be great because he's a pretty established character in the Marvel universe.
So that's just on my wish list. Hopefully, hey, you never know, it could happen. Okay, so let's drop some Easter eggs because Daredevil dropped some on us. Just a couple of name drops. It was some of the Avengers.
Yeah, there's obviously newspaper references to the fight in Hell's Kitchen, or the fight in New York from the Avengers, which destroyed Hell's Kitchen. So
they briefly talk about some heroes in the shared Marvel universe.
Yeah,
so
they
that's
mentioned
cool.
Iron Man, the guy in Iron Suit, and I think Thor
was name dropped, or his hammer was at least.
Yeah.
Also, Elektra got name dropped.
Yes, and that was as to like a girl that he dated in college. So we're going to see Elektra at some point down the road.
Yeah, so they set that up. Madame Gao, so she played a pretty big role, one of Kingpin's people he's working with. So she kind of takes off towards the back half of the season too.
Yeah, and when you have a bunch of villains and they all fear the old little Asian lady in the corner who's very soft-spoken, she's secretly badass.
Yeah,
so
she is a major villain for Iron Fist, which we know they're working on. So
yeah, and I think they're working on Luke Cage,
Iron Fist,
and then
another one,
Spider-Man.
Yeah.
So I think Iron Fist, I'm most excited for that one.
Yeah, so expect her to show up in that show. Also, they name dropped. Well, not name dropped. They showed the hand in the in one of the episodes, in one of the cool fight scenes.
Yeah.
Red Ninja comes after Daredevil.
Yeah, in fact, for me that was a standout fight sequence in the whole entire series. I mean, eventually you get Kingpin, Daredevil, and a bunch of other. But that one, for me, was, I don't know, maybe because it was the most comic booky, or maybe it's just because, it was actual one-on-one match, kind of.
Yeah, but there's a couple of Easter eggs dropped in Daredevil. There's a bunch of them.
Yeah, there's so many Easter eggs that we could literally sit here and just make a video on that. It's just the amount of detail that these guys put into this show. It's crazy.
Yeah, so here comes our reviews. Check them out.
Review. Okay, Marvel's Daredevil on Netflix. If you're ready for a dark, gritty, gruesome, more realistic take on superhero type street level show, then this is the one for you. I personally gave it 3 stars out of 5. If you want to ride through Hell's Kitchen and see what it's like to live in that type of world, check out this series. You won't be disappointed. Great choreography, good action, good acting in it. It just takes you through the emotional ups and downs of A, possibly being a superhero, or B, possibly being a villain. Enjoy the show.
Okay, Marvel's Daredevil is the exact opposite of the Daredevil we got with Ben Affleck. Netflix's Daredevil is gritty, it's realistic, it is Daredevil how he should be done. He gets beaten up, he gets some bad stuff happens to everybody he cares about, he has to lie to everybody he cares about. He's just a character that gets beat up. And that kind of sums up the series in season 1. Every character in this season gets their heart torn out in different ways, including the Kingpin, one of the main villains in this. He does a great job. He is the exact opposite of your hero, which is what you need in a series like this. So I really liked it, and I can't wait for the second season. I give it 3 out of 5. Alright, so there you have it, guys. We both gave it 3 stars out of 5. That means it gets the blue cap seal of approval, so we recommend it. So we'll also be doing a lot of reviews for the future Netflix Marvel shows too. Can't wait. Daredevil was good, and we expect good things from the rest of the Marvel and Netflix partnership. Until then, guys, we'll have plenty of reviews right here on your Dream Destinations YouTube channel. So keep it here, and we'll see you guys later. Good night.